Good afternoon and welcome. We came into this European Council with a victory for common sense on the 2011 EU budget. The European Parliament's request for a 6% budget increase was decisively rejected, and agreement on a much more limited increase of 2.91% was secured. This saves the British taxpayer several £100 million compared with what could have happened if the normal processes were followed and the difference was just split between the Council and the Parliament. And I believe it was our intervention that stopped that from happening. That left Britain with two priorities for this meeting. First, because it's in Britain's interest that we have a strong and stable eurozone, it was important to establish a permanent mechanism for bailing out eurozone countries who find themselves in financial difficulties. And that has been achieved with the very limited treaty change that has now been agreed. Now, this change does not affect the UK, and it does not transfer any powers from Britain to the European Union. Second, I said yesterday that we needed to make sure that Britain was not liable for bailing out the eurozone when the new permanent arrangements come into effect in 2013. And we have achieved that too. It is clear in the Council conclusions and in the draft legal act annexed to them that this will be, and I quote, a stability mechanism for member states whose currency is the euro. That is a mechanism established by eurozone countries for eurozone countries. So Britain will not be part of the new mechanism. Crucially, we have also ensured that the current emergency arrangements are closed off when the new mechanism comes into effect in 2013. On this point, the conclusions are clear that the new mechanism will replace the emergency arrangements. I wanted to be absolutely clear that Article 122, which was the basis on which the emergency arrangements were established, would not be used in this way once the new arrangements came in. On this, both the conclusions and the legal act are crystal clear that, and I quote, Article 122 will no longer be needed for such purposes, and that, quotes, heads of state and government therefore agreed that it should not be used for such purposes. I think that is pretty clear. And it's not just in the Council conclusions, it's in the article that introduces the treaty change. So what Britain has secured in black and white is a clear and unanimous agreement that from 2013, Britain will not be dragged into bailing out the eurozone. That couldn't be clearer. It is, of course, frustrating that we will still be part of the emergency mechanism until 2013, but that is a commitment the previous British government entered into against our advice, and we have to live with it. But I've taken the very first opportunity I've had as Prime Minister to put this right and to protect Britain's interests.